everyone, my name is Hannah Holman. Welcome to Influential Female Cellists, Episode 6. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a cellist named Marion Davies. Now, if you were to Google Marion Davies, you'd probably come up with the 1920s Hollywood actress who was married to Lawrence Hearst. But guess what? This is not her. This is Marion Davies, the cellist. And if you were to Google her, you would maybe get one obituary in the Dallas paper from 2012. I came across Miss Davies because of a wonderful cello collection at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, run by the amazing Stacy Krim. There in Greensboro, they have many different libraries of cellists that have passed, and amongst their collection is the music of Marion Davies. And in the description, it says that Miss Davies was one of the first women to hold a major principal chair in a U.S. orchestra. And then there's like a few various bits of information about how she was here and there, and I couldn't really make sense of how the flow of her life went. So again, thanks to the internet and Stacy, I got in touch with Miss Marion Davies' daughter, Claire. We actually met for lunch in New York on February 15th of this year, which happened to be her mom's birthday. And she was able to kind of put all the pieces of the puzzle together for me. And I have to say I've had lots of help in putting the story of Marion together because there's not a lot known, and this is part of the point of this, is I feel like she had an extraordinary life and it should be better known. Miss Davies was born February 15th, 1924 in San Leandro, California, which is a suburb of San Francisco. She started the cello at the age of 8 in the elementary school where her father was principal. She studied with a woman named Dorothy Nichols, and then she studied with a man named Stanislas Bem at the San Francisco Conservatory. She happened to play for Emanuel Feuermann, the great cellist who came to California when she was 15, and he invited her to come join his studio at the Curtis Institute of Music. I learned through Curtis that she got to Curtis in 1941, so she must have been 17, and she was in Feuermann's studio. And unfortunately, she only had the opportunity of studying with Feuermann for 1 year because Feuermann died at the age of 39 tragically, and she was devastated, according to her daughter. In all that I've learned about Marion and Feuermann in that 1 year, she must have absorbed a lot, because it sounds like everything that she believed in musically and cellistically she got from that 1 year with Feuermann. She did study then for 3 years with the great Gregor Piatigorsky and graduated from Curtis in 1945. Upon graduation, she was invited to become the principal cellist of the Kansas City Symphony. Ephraim Kurtz invited her. He was the conductor of Kansas City. She was principal from the age of 21 for 3 seasons. And I want to read you a little clip from a bio in a program. Miss Marion Davies, whose age is 23, is playing her 3rd season here as principal of the cello section. This good-looking, demure young lady from Hayward, California. Marion is a very poised girl with definite ideas of her own. Although she will listen to Bach by the hour, she is indifferent to the works of Mozart. Like most single girls, she dislikes housework and cooking and would prefer to get into a lively game of tennis or a good book. You just don't necessarily see bios like that these days. So she was in Kansas City for 3 years as principal. In 1948, Ephraim Kurtz became conductor of the Houston Symphony, and he brought Marion to Houston to be the principal there. So she started as principal of Houston in 1948. She was only 24. That's a pretty big job for a 24-year-old. There's a program that Houston Symphony sent me from 1949 in the spring where she played Don Quixote. So that must have been her first concerto appearance with Houston. During her time in Houston, she was principal there until 1963. She got married to a lawyer named Edgar Butler. He had the opportunity to have a job in New York City. She gave up her job and moved with him and their daughter Claire to Greenwich, Connecticut. This is where my lunch with Claire was very helpful. She was telling me that in Houston, it was easier for her mother to be a career person, a cellist, and a mother and a wife. But when she got to the Northeast, it was just not done. Mothers and wives did not work. It was difficult for her mother in Greenwich, Connecticut. She tried to do many things. She launched a solo career where she played in Europe and did a Carnegie Hall debut. And she was playing in a lot of orchestras and a lot of chamber music. Benny Goodman would call her up to read chamber music with him. But I think overall those 7 years were very difficult for her, and she was very frustrated, and in fact, it kind of broke up the marriage. Claire told me that her mom was always way ahead of the time, that she was a progressive, that her mother always made organic, homemade foods, nothing ever processed, and that her mom would take them jogging, like in the 50s. And Claire said she was mortified when she would go because she said nobody went jogging then, but her mom was all about, making sure you take good care of yourself. Marion Davies had the opportunity at the age of 47 to take a teaching position at the North Carolina School of the Arts. By this time, there was another sister, Carolyn, and they went to North Carolina School of the Arts where she taught for 4 years. And I think she was a really fine teacher. I know lots of great cellists that have studied with her. But there was still that thing where she wanted to be principal of an orchestra. It was like a part of her was missing. So at the age of 51, in 1975, she auditioned and won principal of Dallas. I find that very inspiring. She was principal of Dallas Symphony until 1987, and after that, she had the title co-principal and moved around the section. She also, during this time, taught at Southern Methodist University. One of the most important things that Marion Davies did was in 1988 with Dallas Symphony bassist Dwight Chambly. They started the Young String Program in Dallas that was taken over in 1992 by the Symphony. They wanted to give free training and performance opportunities to young minority string students. After she retired from Dallas, she retired and moved to Durham, North Carolina. James McKean, the luthier, who knew Marion's playing and instruments very well, could not say enough great things about her artistry. And everybody that I've spoken to that knew her keeps talking about what an amazing sound person and musician she was. One thing that I have not been able to uncover is any recordings of her playing solo. Those of you archivists for the Houston Symphony, Dallas Symphony, Kansas City Symphony, anywhere, if you find a solo recording of Miss Marion Davies, let me know. Miss Marion Davies was an amazing, groundbreaking female cellist of her time, leading 3 American orchestras at a time when it was not easy to do so. She sounds like she was a very fierce and determined person. I am very inspired by her, and I hope that you are too.